Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Smooth Outline Podcast. I'm your co-host, Andrew Lummus,
I'm your other co-host, Gabe Pascal.
and this is our guest, Kevin Kaufman.
Hey everyone.
Kevin, you don't get to introduce yourself. Only I get to introduce you.
Yeah, fuck me.
Yeah, right? So, welcome to Smooth Outline. We're a podcast where we cover art, music, fashion, pop culture, and anything else we want to talk about. Gabe, what's our motto?
Eat pigs. Eat shit and die. I don't know.
That's probably it. So thanks for coming on today, Kevin. We're gonna talk to you today about something that's probably pretty interesting to the common listener because everybody has watched at least one. Superhero movies. I mean, what's up with them, right?
Yeah, dude, people flying and shit. It's crazy.
Right? But before we get on to the main topic of the podcast, I think it's only fair that being such a fashion-centric podcast, we talk about what we're wearing today. Gabe, I know you just got done a workout. What's your outfit looking like? What you wearing?
Let me stand up and show you. So, I have on this Haverford College Under Armour breathable t-shirt. On my bottoms, got these rugby shorts from a company called B Rugby, and then some regular old white mid-calf socks. What about you guys?
That's what I call the staples, you know?
Yes, your bread and butter, your tuna and sardines, if you will.
You know where the leave button is.
Your Mario and Luigi.
Thank you. So today I got an outfit on. So I also just got done a workout. I'm cooling down passively by insulating a little bit of heat, right? Got just a regular dry fit long sleeve on, Stone Island zip up jumper over top, 1975 Seiko automatic. Some real
Ooh, you should not have stood up. You should not have stood up.
real hot Mizuno bike shorts. You did not see them coming, did ya? And then some white.
Ooh, bad move.
Yep. You didn't think you were going to see that today. It's been like less than 5 minutes and we're already here. That's my outfit. Kevin, what you wearing?
I'm going to do a spin. So I have my thrift shop t-shirt that I got for $2. And then my sweatpants, because, comfort.
Yeah.
And then my Under Armour shoes to go with it because represent the brand. Going to match the weather today with a cool 68. Felt like it was a day to bust out the sweatpants, but too warm to bust out a sweatshirt with it. So didn't go full grout fit. Figured I'd represent the colors a bit.
Soon we'll reach.
Kevin, you forgot your most important piece.
I did?
Your AirPods.
Oh, of course. Well, because how else is everybody else going to know that I'm rich,
I mean, I can barely afford to be on this call right now.
Dude, but my sound quality is going to be so much fucking better than yours.
You say that, but can't even lie. I'm on an HP. That is definitely true. Anyway, main topic of today's podcast. Let me just retreat further into my mock neck. Main topic of today's podcast: superhero movies. Kevin.
Yes. So
what are those?
Dude,
what are those about?
Superhero movies are movies with people that can do super things. And though we're gonna mostly focus on like Marvel versus DC today, but I want to start off with a shout out to The Incredibles, which is the original superhero movie as far as my memory goes, and it's hard to beat. As far as places I would really like to start for today, though, is my number one superhero ranked movie of all time, in The Dark Knight. And that trilogy has all been highly praised by many people, but The Dark Knight, just Heath Ledger's performance, is literally one of a kind, and on its own, there's just that it doesn't need anything else. As the best villain of all time, and I don't know what you guys think, but villains make superhero movies.
It's true. I mean, it's hard to argue with that pick. I mean, it's just like top to bottom, it's the best superhero movie I've ever seen. And I mean, I've watched it a bunch of times just because it's genuinely a good movie, you know? And it's probably the first major superhero movie that proved that it could be something beyond a superhero. It's the first one where it really like hit the cultural mainstream, and it was like, oh, this doesn't need to be some like goofy comic book thing. We can just tell normal like good stories in a superhero setting, you know?
Yeah, I think it stands on its own way because of the relatability of Batman as a superhero as well, because he doesn't have all these crazy powers. He's just a ninja disguised as a bat.
And he's rich.
And he's rich as fuck. He probably has AirPods on.
I would hazard a guess that he has AirPods. Gabe, what do you think about The Dark Knight?
Oh, I definitely agree with you guys. I think well, it's not my favorite. I think it is the best objectively. Exactly like you guys said, you can't go wrong with that movie. It is a masterpiece, which is why that is so widely held as an opinion, obviously. But so with that, would both of you say that you think it is both the best and your favorite?
That is, in my opinion, the best overall. In terms of what you are expecting from a superhero movie, in terms of like plot line, music, directing, and in my opinion, the main reason, best acting of any superhero movie of all time. I mean, having 3 actors in there that have been nominated for best actor is pretty incredible for a superhero movie, and hard to beat. And so that's my main reason. That's #1 movie of all time, not just for quality of movie, but it's just my favorite because it's just dope too.
I would agree. I think it's definitely my favorite because it's like the quality is pretty hard to argue. I mean, there like a lot of the big Marvel ones have had like incredible like achievements in CGI, in like ensemble cast because their budget was just ridiculous. But it's my favorite because it's like the most enjoyable to watch to me. Like I still get things from it when I watch it. I still appreciate every scene. There aren't really any parts of the movie that drag to me. And I think it's just aged really well, especially with like continued global discussions on the nature of terrorism, law and order, vigilantism, you know. I mean, this stuff hasn't really gone out of the zeitgeist. Still,
And mental illness. I mean, the
mental
Joker
illness.
is like now just became a feature film, like literally about his background, which is not really based on his background, but like using that side of it, there's just so many dimensions to that movie that you could branch off of.
Yeah.
But it's still insular, and that makes it really good too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gabe, what is your favorite?
So my favorite is Black Panther. I find that to be the most evocative superhero movie I've
That's
ever
#2
seen.
for me personally.
It's the only superhero movie where I genuinely felt like I could have cried in. I felt like huge waves of emotion rush over me in other superhero movies as well, but never to the apex that Black Panther provided. With that being said, I still stand by that The Dark Knight is the best superhero movie I've ever seen, but I do hold Black Panther at #2, so my list is inverted with you, Kevin.
I would argue Black Panther is the most influential superhero movie ever to be made.
Yeah.
In terms of its demonstration of Black people in such important roles, and an entire cast of essentially all Black people that did an amazing job. Like, I mean, it's just off, especially, you know, with what's happened recently. It's so cool to go back and watch interviews of people walking out of that movie and talking about how inspirational it was to them. And that's the only superhero movie I've ever seen have that kind of power. That's pretty incredible.
100%. It's my number 2, and it's the most emotionally responsive superhero movie I've ever watched. Because like when I watched Endgame, for instance, like I like never cry in real life, but I will cry in a movie, like very easily. And Endgame,
Did
I
you
was
cry
like,
at Endgame?
yeah, I cried at Endgame when Tony Stark died.
Stupid.
I mean, like, what are you gonna do? It was sad, but it's also just like because then I just get involved in the little movie world, and I'm like, oh, you know. But that's like a tearjerker response because the movie designed it to be that, and it was manufactured. It doesn't mean that it like didn't hit, but it felt manufactured. The character arc of Killmonger, Michael B. Jordan's character in Black Panther, and his death scene, that's, I mean, period. That's an incredibly emotionally effective scene. Like I was like, I wasn't sob or anything, but I was like seriously tearing up at that. And when he said like, "Scatter my ashes in the ocean," like that, I mean,
One of
I
my
obviously,
favorite lines of movie history.
yeah, like I have no connection to that, and I can't feel what that really must feel like. But even to me, that felt insane. Um, yeah, I mean, it's the acting, especially Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman, absolutely incredible as that little like 1-2 dyad, you know? Um, just like it's one of those movies that's gonna stick in your head forever. Like we all remember the first time we saw Black Panther. I mean, it's top 2. It's pretty hard to argue that anything else is up there unless you like the big spectacle.
But I also think that there's still room to beat these movies because they still had flaws. Like the Black Panther, like had such an amazing soundtrack and did not use it. Like they literally had some of my favorite artists and some of, I think, all of our favorite artists on that soundtrack, and
Mm.
like completely underused it and underplayed it. And I was like, it could have been better done. And The Dark Knight, like Heath Ledger is amazing, and the Joker is the incredible supervillain. But they have this entire other like arc of Two-Face, like Harvey Dent, which is not nearly as good, and is kind of just like hard to understand, and nobody talks about it because it's like it's kind of stupid, to be honest. Like, and like there's places to improve upon in these movies that like I still think we could get a better one. But in terms of cultural importance, I do think that Black Panther is hard to beat.
Yeah, it will be a long time, I think, before anything has that sort of impact. It is a long time coming. I think it plays with the duality of man much better than other superhero movies as well. And to me, that is another reason why it's more favorite than The Dark Knight. Like the Joker, I would agree, is the best supervillain in any story, any superhero story. But the idea of like a brotherly type separation at birth deal between T'Challa and Killmonger, I think that's something special and speaks volumes on a symbolic level as well, in a way that the movie also sets up for Killmonger to not ever really get to live down because he dies before he really gets to have his day in his return to Africa. But both movies definitely special. So I'd be interested to hear from you guys. How would you round out a top 5?
Kevin,
In
you
order.
gotta go.
Yeah, I got mine in front of me because I got my top rankings of movies for just about every type of movie you can think of. And so if we're just talking because number 3 for me is The Incredibles. But if we're talking Marvel and DC, my next up is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay. I like that take.
And literally because of how fucking fun that movie is. Like, there were like no moments where I was like sad or upset, and the plot line wasn't that good. Like, it was fine, but it was just funny as fuck, and like the music was so fun, and I was obsessed with that soundtrack for like so long afterwards. And I just came out of that movie like maybe like what, freshman or sophomore year of high school, and was like the like lonely little fuck that I was back then, and came out of the movie and was like, I can do anything. Ooh, this life's cool. And like that reaction was dope. I think that's why that's my number 3. But I'm interested because I feel like this is where, like, I feel like top 2 is way more set, and then it gets way harder.
Yeah, I like Guardians of the Galaxy a lot. I mean, that soundtrack is god tier. It's just like it's the most fun I've had in a superhero movie, probably. It's not trying to do anything crazy. It's just like, you're here for a good time. This is a completely random, like, C-tier group of superheroes that you've never heard of before. And so we're just gonna write a fun story with Chris Pratt. Yeah, I like that take a lot. What's your 5?
Yeah, so to round it out, so next up I have Dark Knight Rises, because if you couldn't tell, I am obsessed with Batman and Christopher Nolan. And then at number 5, I go back and forth on this one a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I've put Deadpool here. I've put Iron Man, the original one, here. But
to 3 is similar to you, Kevin. I like what you said about The Incredibles, because my number 3 is actually very rooted in how much I loved The Incredibles as a kid. My number 3 is Watchmen, which was not a good movie.
It's a bad movie.
It was a very hard to follow movie, but I also think that it is like by far the most interesting superhero movie premise, and that's why it is my number 3. Very anti-establishment.
Have you read the original?
No.
Oh my god.
But I watched a YouTube video about someone explaining it. So I basically read the original.
The original is so good.
That's how it works nowadays, yeah.
It's a genuine classic, and it's so easy to read. It's a graphic novel. It takes like an hour. It's so good.
We're talking about movies right now, Andrew.
It's because the Zack Snyder adaptation was just not, like, it was relatively faithful, but it didn't hit the same as the book did. The book is way more in depth.
Okay, Gabe, round out that list for me.
So at number 4, coming in with Deadpool, I loved that movie. So funny. I think that was the most fun superhero movie I've watched. The most fun I've had watching a superhero movie. And then 5, my hot take, Toby Mcguire's first Spider-Man movie. And this is definitely a personal preference thing.
Can't be that. Can't be anything else.
Yeah. And here's why I like it. So it's classic. Even though everyone hates it, it is classic.
It's from like 2007, bro.
Yeah. You have the super classic upside down kiss scene. And also, like, we were very young when that came out. So my experience of watching it as a boy, it was really the only time I ever got to watch a blockbuster superhero movie that wasn't part of the like whole Avengers saga as a boy, like a real like little kid.
Yeah, so those X-Men movies from that time were horrible.
Yeah, I just didn't watch them. They weren't that. I think I watched one and it's like, this is non-coherent.
I saw First Class and it sucked.
Yeah, but that Spider-Man movie, like, it made sense to me. It made me feel things as like a grade schooler, and I will always appreciate that. No matter how many haters Toby Mcguire has, he's got a place in my heart.
Well, that's a very sentimental take, but Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies, there's a reason they rebooted them immediately after those. Because I mean, like they're I get why you like them because they're kind of like they're intentionally like that. So they're kind of like so campy and ridiculous that they're cool, but it's also something where they've like aged in a way that they probably didn't intend because of the way like internet meme culture has intersected with that kind of like ridiculous humor that they had.
Yeah.
Which I mean is perfectly fine because they did age pretty funnily. They're still pretty cool and all that in their own way, but I don't give Sam Raimi as much credit for that as I do. Uh, good luck. And actually, Tobey Maguire was pretty sick. Like he played into it. He kind of nailed it in a way.
That movie's fucking terrible. But
They were
yeah,
like,
okay, Gabe.
it's like the right. It's like the right amount of stupid is the way I
Yeah.
see
No, it's just stupid. Like
Right, that's fair.
I mean, I understand the sentimental aspect. I'm not trying to take that away from you. But like if somebody came up to me and were like 5 years from now and they're like, well, Batman vs Superman was the movie that I saw when I was a kid and it was so cool and the action scenes were great, I'd be like, fuck you. You don't understand me. I completely do not validate your opinions.
That's
Yeah.
very, very fair. I didn't expect any agreement whatsoever on that.
Yeah,
That's like
although
being like,
very
yeah, no,
attractive
Nixon
cast,
was my first
I'll give you
president. Wasn't he great?
like the cast was super attractive. So if that's why it made you feel things when you watched it, like
Perhaps.
fair enough.
That was the Emma Stone one, right?
No.
Oh, it was
She was
Kristen Dunst.
the Andrew Garfield ones then.
Yes.
Kristen Dunst. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
But James Franco, I think, is in that movie.
Yeah, he plays Green Goblin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And freaking what's the guy? The guy with the creepy face, Willem Dafoe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Willem Dafoe's also in that movie.
Yeah, he plays his dad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. The OG Green Goblin. Weird movies. So weird. With like the practical effects too. Oh my gosh. They aged that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't age well. They aged funnily, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, watching old superhero movies now is just like if you're gonna sit there and make fun of it, then they can be a good time. But if you're gonna do anything else, like try to watch for enjoyment, it's gonna be a disappointment. So I want to go back to this Avengers debate real quick,
Okay.
because the Avengers, while entertaining, I'm not gonna take that away. Like you can sit through them and you're not really ever bored, but they either had to commit to making it entirely action based and being like this plot does not matter, or like making it actually a good plot and being like let's make it less action based so that we can like really enjoy like really dive into these backstories. And instead they just were like, nah, we'll do both, make the movies really long but not do either well enough. And so they have these like really cool action scenes for like 20 to 30 minutes at the end of each movie. And then the rest of the movie, they're like building up this plot that just does not make enough sense. And then you get to the action part. And the first Avengers movie, I was like, okay, I get what's going on here. Whatever. And then it just gets bad. Like Civil War is a terrible movie.
The thing is they like the first one they didn't bite off more than they could chew. They didn't try and tell a really convoluted story. They just
like aliens, you know? And I was like, yeah okay, sure,
Cool.
aliens. Yeah, well, aliens are always the enemy. That's a super easy cop out. But when they were like, yeah, and then Infinity War was like,
I mean
like
it was cool, but it was like
too many people. And then they
Yeah.
were like, let's kill half of them. And then it was like, oh my God, did we lose T'Challa? And it was like, you didn't need to do that. Like, we all saw that movie together. It was the most disappointing. Like, that sucked. I was not happy walking out of that.
I know.
We were very distraught on the car ride home from that. I remember that.
Yeah. But you know, it's also like one thing about the like Marvel formula is that it has you in the action scenes and like the quippy, fun dialogue long enough that you don't get bored. But it it dives you into plot and character development just for long enough that you know that it's there, but not long enough to actually say anything. I look at it the same way that I look at Radiohead, where it's like Radiohead is smart music for dumb people. If someone thinks that a Marvel movie is smart, they haven't really thought about it that much. Like, Marvel movies can be good, but I don't think it's really fair to say that they're well written per se, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, bro, I guess it's partly my definition of a good movie is that like a fine movie is one that I'm entertained by. A good movie is one that keeps me thinking about it for the next 2 or 3 days after I watch it. Like, because of the intrinsic little lines here and there or themes that they have behind. And there's just none of that in Marvel movies for the most part. Like, they try to follow this stupid formula, and to be fair, it works. They get so many people to go to their movies and watch them.
Because it's incredibly enjoyable is the thing. It's like, it is fun. And like, that's why I like Avengers 1, because it's fun. Like, it's just a good time.
But they try too hard to drive this plot that is not that believable. And it's like, yo, just make it fun and do not focus on plot. Like, if you're gonna fucking do this. So from a critical standpoint, like, it's just, they are not movies that anybody would ever put on like a top of list for like an Oscar or for like plot development or soundtrack or acting. Like, it's just there, it's never good enough. And like, yeah, that's why I hate Marvel, because of the fact that they try to follow this formula way too often, and their best movies are when they're like, nah, fuck it, we're just gonna focus on this actual thing and try on that, like Black Panther or like Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're very different types of movies, but they both were like, we're not gonna actually follow this formula to a key. Like, we're gonna make this a fun movie, or we're gonna make this a culturally relevant movie. We're gonna actually focus on that rather than just making it the summer blockbuster hit like a fucking Drake song, where it's like, it's fine, it's like kind of fine the first few times, or like you hear it and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, woo, but then you're like not going to listen to it afterwards because like I was that one summer and you're fucking done with it.
You can't go a full podcast without talking about Drake.
Never.
It's true. It's the Drake of movies. It's easily digestible. It's good enough. It's never gonna blow you away. But then every now and then you'll get like a little Lucy, like Thor Ragnarok, where you'll be like, oh wow, this was actually really enjoyable. Like, this was really funny, you know? But it's like, it's a once in a while, you know?
Yeah, which is why people that wear Marvel attire unironically is not cool.
Yes, good point. Especially Captain America shirts.
Boo.
Captain America shirts.
Worst superhero.
The dude is a jingoistic, like, pseudo-fascist.
Toxic masculinity to its finest. Like,
and like kind of like the idealized like Klan version of a white American man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, everyone I know who loves Captain America is a conservative.
You're not
Checks
wrong.
out.
I mean, it's like, I have nothing against Chris Evans. He's like cool. Like, he
he's
seems
a good
fine.
actor too.
Yeah, he's a pretty good actor. It's
Knives Out, he's great in that.
Yeah, and like the Captain America movie was like, it was better than I thought it was going to be, because Captain America is just so boring. He's literally just like, oh, I was a soldier, but I was selfless, and that's what it means to be American, and so I became Captain America.
The fact that they
Through
named
steroids.
a fucking superhero Captain America, like
through like Nazi steroids, I became Captain America. Which is not that far off from our own nuclear program.
So who's your favorite Avenger?
Favorite Avenger, Hawkeye. The most irrelevant, and weird that he comes back in the last few movies, because they really could have just dropped him and no one would have cared. But I like him for the fact that he has absolutely nothing to contribute. He's still in the group.
I like Hulk, but only when he's in his Hulk form.
Yeah.
Ooh,
because he's so fun. He just fucking smashes shit.
I like Hulk in Bruce Banner form, actually. I was going to say Bruce Banner.
Ooh,
Is a great exercise in self-control, and I respect the hell out of him.
I think it's fun when he doesn't do that and just lets loose, and I get to just watch Hulk do stupid shit because that's what I think the whole movie should be about anyway.
So of our favorites, we have Spartan self-control, uninhibited rage, and futility.
Yeah, but not conservatism. So
Not conservatism.
I'm cool with
Not
that.
conservatism. Yeah, I think that's pretty fair that we can say that Captain America's the worst. We can I think it's unanimous that Hawkeye's the best, and that like Bruce Hulk is around there somewhere.
All right, well, it's not unanimous that Hawkeye is the best.
You just said Hawkeye is the best.
No, I didn't.
Dude, there's more people for Hulk.
You
right
said
now
something,
than for
something,
Hawkeye.
something, something that Hawkeye is the best.
No.
Read over the transcript, but you're definitely wrong.
You said my favorite is Hawkeye. I said something like fair play. No, I actually think Black Widow is the best. I find her to be the most effective Avenger. Does her job.
Yeah, and Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, good actor, chef's kiss.
Dude,
I mean,
Well, she's like
fucking incredible actor.
yeah, like
Oh,
way
actress,
too good
I
for
guess
those
we should
movies.
probably use the right words.
It's just weird that like her character was white. I would have thought she would try and play another person of color.
yeah, let's not get it wrong. We definitely don't stan her. But Black Widow is a good Avenger.
Yeah, it's like weird. It even had the setup in the name, and they still chose to make her white. Impressive self-restraint on Scarlett's part, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually, my celebrity doppelganger, it's kind of celebrity, is Hunter Johansson, who's Scarlett's twin brother. I'm gonna put an image of him on the screen right now, but he's weirdly looks like me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I have one. I don't think I've given it enough thought as to who my celebrity lookalike would be.
I don't know if you have a major one.
Hulk.
Yeah, probably. That's probably the closest.
I get angry so much.
I like to see mine is Memphis Depay, but it's a reach.
It's a
No,
reach,
dude,
but
I see that. No, fuck yeah, give yourself.
it's a good
it.
reach.
Memphis
It's a good
Depay
reach.
is one of the best looking people in the world. He's great. I am amazing at soccer. I totally would give you that, Gabe.
Thank you, Kevin. I needed that.
I hope you feel like after you walked out of that Spider-Man movie right now.
I do. Yeah. Validated, loved.
All right, guys.
Dude,
I think that
go off in a minute.
yeah, I think that I think that's a good place for us to wrap our discussion for today. You guys got any closing remarks?
Nope.
If you think The Avengers is a good superhero movie, you need to watch them again and watch real movies.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue with that one. But at the end of the day, you got to realize you got to have a reason for liking the thing you like. It can even just be it's enjoyable to me, but you got to have that reason because here at Smooth Outline, it's not about what you like, it's about
Unless
how
you're
you like it.
Stupid.
About how you like it. Thanks for cutting off our freaking motto. All right, this is where our other motto comes in.
I'm never allowed back on again.
You're never allowed back on. We're gonna replace you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you guys for coming down to the Smooth Outline superhero movie pop culture corner. I've been Andrew Lummus.
I've been Gabe Pascal.
And I'm
That's been Kevin Kaufman. And he's been gone. So see you next week.